Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Now today I'm going to be doing a top 10 list. I'm going to be doing my top 10 album sides. Now this video was inspired by I saw a video from James Griffith, and also known as the Vinyl Professor here, and he was responding to someone else's video, a user called Fit to Be Tie-Dyed, I think that's how you say it, sort of concerning favourite album sides, and that not necessarily your favourite albums off all time, but more sort of ones where maybe one side of the record stands out more than the other, or maybe is your go-to side for that album. So yeah, I've selected 10 here, put them into some sort of order. So yeah, we will just get started with number 10. Our first choice is side 1 of this album, Southern Accents by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Now this isn't one of their best albums, it has to be said. It kind of sits around the middle of their discography for most people, and no one seems to really love this album. But then again, not many people seem to hate it either. But I think that side 1 of this album is fantastic, and is side 2, unfortunately, where we get quite a few filler tracks. I mean, side 1 opens with Rebels, which is a fantastic song. It Ain't Nothing to Me is okay. It is the slightly lesser song on side 1. But then we get Don't Come Around Here No More and Southern Accents, both of which are brilliant 10 out of 10 songs. And then side 2 doesn't have many good ones, it has to be said. I mean, I quite like the first song. The first song, Make It Better. Bit cheesy though. Spike, not a fan of that. Dogs on the Run, not a fan of that one either. So there is a couple of tracks on side 2 which I'm not big on. This is certainly an album where side 1 is just the standout completely. So yeah, that is Southern Accents, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers at number 10. Now this next one is a fantastic album all the way through. This is a brilliant album. But for me, side 1 is just a little bit more notable, as to be said. It kind of it's at the side that I could go to. This is Paul Weller's debut solo album from 1992. And yeah, side 1 starts with oh yeah, we then get I Didn't Mean to Hurt You, Bull Rush. Round and Round is maybe the only slightly lesser track on that side 1, but it's still a good song. Then I have Above the Clouds, there's another one I think, Remember How We Started. So some brilliant tracks on the first side of this album. That's kind of when I could go to listen to this album, I get really excited to hear the first side, and then somewhat when I could flip over the record, it's a little bit disappointing. I mean, there are still some fantastic tracks on the second side, such as Clues and Into Tomorrow, which was the single from the album, and Bitterness Rising as well. That's a fantastic song, but there's a little more less than brilliant tracks on the second side, but this is still a fantastic album though, all the way through. But for me personally, it is the first side which has the standout material on it. Next is an album where I vastly prefer the second side. At number 8 is The Who, and a quick one album here. Yeah, again, not my favourite Who album, but the second side of this record is just brilliant. We have Don't Look Away, which is a really underrated track, See My Way, which is a good attempt at writing from Roger Daltrey, and then two classics, So Sad About Us, and the 9-minute epic A Quick One While He's Away. I mean, compared with the first side of this record, which is mostly just filler tracks, first side is kind of rubbish compared with the second side, which is just brilliant track after brilliant track. There's 4 fantastic tracks there, so yeah, definitely this is kind of the album what is suited to this list. When I listen to this, I only really bother with the second record. I'm going to Graceland, Memphis, Tennessee. Next one now is another fantastic album, one of my favourites actually, but I do feel that it kind of like loses a little bit like of like momentum like as like the album goes on. This is certainly one where like the first side of like the record is like almost perfect, and like the second side has some great moments, but like unfortunately it isn't quite to the same standard as the first side. I am talking about Paul Simon's Graceland album here, and yet it starts off so well with like The Boy in the Bubble and Graceland, and like also on that side one we have I Know What I Know and Gumboots, which are some people might call them filler songs, but I love both of them. And then of course Diamonds on the Soles off of Shoes to Finish, and then side 2 starts brilliantly as well with You Can Call Me Al, but then it does lose a little bit like of like momentum. Like it certainly doesn't end this album like as well like as it started, but yeah, still a fantastic album throughout. Just for me, the first side is like a little bit more like noteworthy.
Mama, if that's moving up, then
Similar kind of thing like with like this next album. This album starts brilliantly. Like the whole of like first side of this album like is perfection. However, it does lose a bit of its momentum like as it goes on. Billy Joel's The Stranger. So yeah, like, I'm not a massive fan like of like Billy Joel, but this album is just stunning. We get a collection of like some of his best songs ever, really. I mean, starting like with Moving Out, Anthony's song. Fantastic track. The Stranger, the title song itself is great. Just the Way You Are, classic ballad. And then probably my favourite Billy Joel song to end side 1, Scenes from an Italian Restaurant. Fantastic stuff there. And then the second side, it does have some great moments such as She's Always a Woman and like Only the Good Die Young. But yeah, like, once again, this is an album what certainly starts much better like than it ends with like that amazing first side there runner song. So that is The Stranger by Billy Joel at number 6 on this list. Now at number 5 on my list, I have got the Smiths album, The Queen Is Dead. Now my favourite side from this like is definitely the second side, which I think is just so consistently great. Like it is it's fantastic. I mean, it starts off like with Big Mouth Strikes Again, which is just like that classic like riff, like great guitar work there from Johnny Marr. The boy with Thorn in the side, a little bit more poppy, and that Vicar in a Tutu, just a bit of fun really. I mean like the Smiths, like they're not considered to be like a really fun or like light-hearted band, but this song like they take like a moment like just to like have like a bit of fun there. There is a Light That Never Goes Out, classic track, and like Some Girls Are Bigger Than Others, that fantastic like Johnny Marr riff to that song is brilliant. But yeah, like it is like the second side what certainly stands out more. Like the first side like is still fantastic. We have some classic tracks like The Queen Is Dead, Frankly Mr. Shankly and Cemetery Gates. Not massive on like Never Had No One Ever, and like I have to be like in like the mood to sort of like appreciate I Know It's Over. But yeah, some brilliant tracks, so like fantastic album throughout, but it's for me the second side of this album what holds like the true classic tracks.
sometimes it gets on lonely.
Now, this next one might be a slightly controversial choice because I am going for side 1 of David Bowie's album Low here. Now, this is very much like an album like off two halves. I mean, like the first side is like shorter, like snappier songs. They're just sort of like little sketches like that songs, but like they're very short. Like some of them like are like instrumental, but like the vast majority of them like do have lyrics, like they're really quirky, really interesting songs. Whereas the second side like are more like atmospheric, like instrumentals, slightly longer tracks and that. But for me, I tend to just go for the first side of this album. Like the second side, like it is a little bit out there, very different. Like I know that like a lot of people do tend to prefer like the second side like of this album just because it is like so different and like so wacky. But for me, the first side is a little bit more like accessible material there, such as Speed of Life, Sound and Vision, Be My Wife, Always Crashing in the Same Car. Some brilliant tracks there, and like again just like really different sounding like throughout this album. This is a stunning album, but for me the first side fits my tastes like a little bit more, it has to be said. So now at number 3 on my list, I have got the masterpiece from Pink Floyd, which is Echoes, what takes up the entire second side of the Medal album here. And yeah, what song Echoes is, it is for me Pink Floyd's best song, my favourite song like of theirs. Such an epic, goes through so many different stages. You've sort of got like the vocal bit, then like the guitar solo, and then like the atmospheric, like sort of quiet, like instrumental bit. It's really, really fantastic song. Like I'm sure like most people like would like agree there. And like for me, the first side of this album also has some brilliant tracks such as One of These Days. Fearless is great as well, Pillow of Wind, some really good like underrated Pink Floyd songs there, but it is the second side of this album which is certainly like the most significant part of this album. And yeah, Echoes, just a fantastic flawless track there from the second side of Medal, so it had to make this list somewhere, and it comes in at number 3.
Once there was a way.
Now at number 2 for my favourite album sides is going to side 2 of the Beatles' Abbey Road here. So yeah, this is like famous like for like the Abbey Road medley, what takes up like the majority like off like the second side of this album. But like people like tend to forget that like it actually starts with Here Comes the Sun. Fantastic song, like one of like George's best songs like of all time, like what he's like ever wrote, it has to be said. Here Comes the Sun. Then we get Because, like You Never Give Me Your Money, which is at the start like off like the melody of like the medley, and that fantastic Sun King and Me Mr. Mustard, Polythene Pam, She Came In Through the Bathroom Window. That's personal favourite of mine. Really great song there from McCartney. And then like 3 big ones like Out Like the End, Golden Slumbers, Carry It That Way, and The End. Just a fantastic like end like to like the Beatles' career. Like they knew that this was going to be like the last album like what they recorded together, so they really wanted like to end like with a bang, and like that's exactly what they did. The first side of this record is like fantastic as well, considering we've got songs like Come Together and Something and Octopus's Garden. That's a really great fun song there as well. But it's the second side what for me, and probably like a lot of people out there, like is like the standout moment of this album, and like one of the standout moments of the Beatles' entire recording career. So now we are on to my number 1 choice, and like this one like also featured on like James Griffith's list. It is ELO's Out of the Blue album, side 3, the Concerto for a Rainy Day. Has to be one of the best things Jeff Lynne has ever done, it has to be said. The whole side, like the way it flows, like the different like mood changes in it, is like exquisitely produced as well. And like yeah, it's just fantastic. I mean like the 4 songs are like Standing in the Rain, Big Wheels, Summer and Lightning, and Mr. Blue Sky. Yeah, fantastic stuff there. This is also a double album as well. So this is side 3, and like for me this is probably one of like the best double albums ever, because it is so consistent, and like there's always something to look forward to. Like I mean like from like the first side, like there's always like something like to keep like you going like with the album. And the other thing I would say like with this though, like it does seem like a little bit like anticlimactic though, like however Mr. Blue Sky and then like something that needs to follow that. Like we get like Sweet Is the Night, which is a good song, but is it really like worth like following like Mr. Blue Sky? Like I'm not too sure. Might have been better had this been like the final side of this album. But regardless though, it is a fantastic piece of work, the Concerto for a Rainy Day. My favourite album side, I could just stick it on and like just get like taken away with it. Fantastic music there. So yeah, that would be my favourite album side. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. Thanks again to James like for like sort of like inspiring like me like say like do this video and that. So yeah, I will see you all next time for the next video. Goodbye. Everybody.